Hello everyone and welcome back to Java Forever course. Currently we are learning about loops, and in the past few classes you have learned some of the tips and tricks on this topic. Today we will take a last look at the same concept. You may have unintentionally written some code statements that not necessarily need to be repeated. It's primarily because if we write more lines of code, there are two problems. Number one, the more lines of code you write, the more chance of error are. And second, we are also consuming processing time of the processor unnecessarily. Let's take this with an example and understand. Suppose we want to write a Java program, to find the sum of numbers from 1 to 1000. In this program, as you can see on the screen, in this code, we are declaring a variable sum equal to 0 because this is going to be our output. Remember, anytime you write a program, always identify your inputs, identify your output, create a skeleton program, declare a variable for this output like we are doing it here, and at the end you will be, my output in fact is average. So we're going to write the average of 1 to 1000. So at the end I will be printing the average. Now anything else is your processing statement, including some conditions, some loops, whatever you call it. Now in this case, when we write a program, first we'll find the sum of all the numbers, because finding the average is the last thing, and it's pretty straightforward. In order to find the average, you find the sum and divide it by number of inputs, number of your endpoint, which is 1000 in this case. Now we are going to use a while loop. Is while loop the right way to do this? Not necessarily, not really. But I'm taking an example, and we are saying while true, we are going to, count up to 1000. But rather than hard coding this value 1000, we declared a variable. And with this variable, we are storing the value, and we'll use this variable wherever we need this value 1000. And we are saying sum equal to sum plus 1, I equal to I plus 1, because you want to, exit the loop at some point of time. And we are counting if this I, the counter, is greater than our end point, which is our limit 1000. So if I is greater than 1000, answer is no, continue. Once I becomes 1000, maybe 1000 to 1, is this becomes greater than 1000, answer is yes, and then we'll exit the code using the break statement, and then we'll exit this whole while block and get out and find the average. Again, this is not the best way to implement the logic of finding a sum of 1000 numbers, first 1000 numbers starting from 1, or finding the average. This is not the best logic, but I wanted to show you that the important part here which I want to highlight is this piece of code. Now in this code, any code that you write inside the while loop or for loop is going to be executed multiple times, depends on the condition. When I want to declare a variable and store a value 1000 and reuse this value, I'm pretty much using this as a constant number, right? I could have actually done this and say int and then count of numbers, just to make sure that everything in uppercase. And again, it will be static final int also, because it's a constant, it's not going to change. That's the right way to do that. Now assuming, but then in this code, I don't want to, I'm not going to talk about a constant, but idea is to show you that this line of code is going to be repeated every time this whole loop executes. And it is not necessarily. I can move this out here because once I declare the value, I can reuse multiple times. I can use this variable wherever I need, like I'm using it here. It doesn't need to be inside the while loop. So that declaration and initialization of a variable in this case is not really required inside the while loop. So how did we fix it? As you can see that we moved that code here. Once we move it here, this code will run only once. And that is what we really need. We need a variable with a value 1000, and down the line I'm going to use that value wherever I need it. I don't have to always declare and initialize it every time the loop runs. Again, the idea is to show you that when you write code, make sure, take a look at it again, make sure that you are not unnecessarily executing a line of code that is not really required to be executed every time the while or for loop runs. With that, I think we are pretty much done with the optimization of our code. We learned some of the tips and tricks. Go ahead and apply it. I have created few quiz for you and few practice tests. Go ahead and take those. You can see on the screen here that there are at least 4 quizzes for you. One immediately on this topic, the cleaning out our for loops in the Java, and then whatever we have learned so far, all the tips and tricks in Java with respect to loops, you are going to apply in the last 3 quiz. That will surely give you a lot of confidence. You will master this skill, and you should be able to use this in any programming language, not only just in Java. Most importantly, you will learn how to solve a problem, because there are different type of problems I have created for you to practice. So happy practicing. I'll see you guys again in the next class. Bye-bye.
Thanks for watching. Do subscribe and press the bell icon for more videos.